I'm going on holidays soon, and as you know, I'm going to try and do some videoing using just my mobile phone. I downloaded the VideoPad free app to try and do my video editing on, and I put a video of that up about 2 videos ago. You might like to go and check that out. I'll put the link in a card here for you. And I also need an app that's going to create me a great thumbnail, because as you know, I'm a great believer in creating good thumbnails. And so I've downloaded this app. It's called Snapseed, and I'm going to click on that now. This one is just amazing for a free app. What you can do here is really terrific. So let's get started. I tap anywhere to open the photo that I've taken that I want to use. And let's say, for argument's sake, that I want to use this one. So first thing that we'll notice is that when you take most photos on the phone, it's not 16:9, so we need to change that. So I'm going to go up back to Tools here down the bottom. You'll see where it says Tools, and I'm going to go to Crop. And when I crop it, now because I've selected this before, it's going to default to 16:9. You can see there that there are other sizes available if you wanted to change that, if you want to use this for Instagram or something like that. I'm going to stick with 16:9, and I can move that up and down. As you can see, I can also zoom it in and out while staying at 16:9. So let's say I want to just use that, and then I'll hit the tick, should I say. So now I've got a 16:9 image. That's fantastic. Okay, so what can we do with this to try and make a great thumbnail for it? So we can start by going to Styles, and there are a bunch of styles that you can choose from. For example, Pop, and you'll see it takes a little while just to process it and make it a little bit better. Let's try another one. Accentuate. Does that make much of a change? Each one is just a little bit. You just might like to try a few of the filters to try and get it. I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to hit the tick button. These tools are just amazing. Look at that, how many tools there are. It's just incredible. So let's have a look at how we can use some of the tools. I'm going to click Tune Image, the first one. So I'm going to click on that, and it's not obvious immediately exactly what you have to do, although have a look at the top of the screen. It defaults to the first option, which is brightness. And if I want to change the brightness, all I do is put my finger on the screen, and I can either slide it to the right, in which case, as you can see, it brightens up, or slide it to the left and it darkens down. But there are other options there. I'm not going to really mess around with that one, but if you just click on this options down here at the bottom, open that, look at the options. You can change the brightness, the contrast, the saturation. And I'm always a fan of adding saturation to a thumbnail, because you really want it to make stand out and be different. So if I click on saturation, now look at the top of the screen and you've got saturation there. And again, same thing. I can just swipe with my finger to the right or to the left, and I've got control over that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that saturation quite high and click the tick. Now I could also, remember, change the ambience, the highlights, the shadows, the warmth, any of those. Just click on them and then use your finger to swipe right or left. But for now, I'm just going to hit the tick. So that's looking good. Then I'm going to go back into Tools. What else can we do? There's so many things available to us. If I hit the details, what options do we have? We have Structure, and if I swipe right or left on that, you can see a slight difference there. And Sharpness. I always tend to sharpen my image just a little for a thumbnail. So by clicking on sharpening, it changes it at the top of the screen. And again, you can increase or decrease the sharpness. I'm going to leave that at about, or around about the halfway mark, 50, and click the tick on that one. Then we go back into Tools again. We've got white balance and curves. I'm not even going to mess with those. You can rotate it if you want it a little bit. Let's just see what happens when we click the rotate button. So I've clicked it on there, and I can, by default, using my finger, I can click it in either direction. If I wanted to, for example, I could just leave it like that, move it up, whoops, And if I'm happy with that, I can then click the tick. Now you'll notice there are a couple of options there. If I click this other one, it actually gives me a full 90 degrees each time. So, and if I'm happy with that, I'm going to hit the tick. And as you can see, that's been done. Now, if I want to, I'm going to actually go up to the top here and hit undo, because I don't really want it to rotate. So that was, I did that again. I'll just indicate at the top. If you look at the top of the right hand corner of the screen, you'll see this little button that's got that arrow pointing to the left. That's the where you get the undo option. Alright, so what else can we do with this? Perspective. Let's jump into perspectives and see what we can do. So you can tilt it right or left with this tilt option. I'll put my finger on the screen and show you what I mean. So you can tilt it that way, or up, or down, whatever you like. And as you can see, it actually fills in the black if you tilt it in a different direction. So might like to change. I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. But other things you could do with this are you could go freestyle, in which case you could move that in. You can mess around to your heart's content here with this. I'm not going to select any of those. I'm just going to hit the undo button, or actually it's just the back button on my phone. In my case, it's the bottom left hand side of my phone. Gives me the option to go back. So jump into tools again. Now I won't bother going through all of them because there's just so many here. But if I want to do a couple of things more before we finish, when you're making a thumbnail, one of the things I strongly recommend you do is that you include a frame, because it just makes it stand out again from other people, so you've got a point of difference. So I'm going to click on frames down here. And now it gives me an option. Have a look at the default frame. It's just put a white frame around my picture. But there are a bunch of frames that you can choose from. Let's go through some of them. So that's given me round corners. That one's given me a bit of a grungy type of a look. That one's quite dark. That one would stand out quite nicely in a thumbnail. It would really give it some attention. And so on and so forth. There's a few of them, and you can slide across. You can see, look how many there are. There's another one. There's 23 frames. I think I'm going to go back to that round one that I liked, that one there, and click on that. And then of course, as you know, I always put text on mine, and I strongly recommend you do, because you want people to know what it's about. So if this thumbnail was about the geese, for example, let's say I'd made a film about water birds at my local park. Let's go into text and see what options we have there. Tools, text. Okay, it says double tap here to change the text. So it gives us a bunch of options that we can use. We can select any of these by default, and you get all sorts of different things there, different styles, different options. And how many are there? Whoa, look at that. There are so many, it's just insane. So if I want to use any of those, I can. If I click down here, I get to choose the darkness or the lightness of as you can see, if I click along there, you can change the color of the text to whatever I want by clicking on that palette. If I click that little eyedrop, it allows me to change the opacity of the text, and I can invert that so that I get everything else blacked out except for the text if I want to do that. If I click on this one here, we're back to styles again, and if I change it, let's change the style. We'll go to, no, I don't like that one. I might go to, I think I might stick with the original actually. Let's go back to just a single line one. Okay, so double tap, and I can change this to, I'm going to make it all caps. Waterbirds. Well, it helps if you spell right, Mark. Waterbirds at my local park. And click OK there. So as you can see, I can move that around. I can also, change I'm putting two fingers on the screen now, and by doing that I can tilt this wherever I want it. Okay, I can zoom in, zoom out, just by using my two fingers on the screen, opening my fingers up, closing my fingers, rotating them. Okay, so let's say I want to go that way and change that color because it's not standing out. Remember, I like them to pop, I really do. So I want it to be big and bold, and no, is that going to work? Is that going to work? Or we can go, let's go to white. Is that going to work? I think probably white, I'd say. Or maybe, oh, you could play around with this all day, couldn't you? All right, let's just leave that there. And I'm going to hit my tick. Okay, and finally, let's say I finish with all of these, and there's a bunch more options that you can play around with. Then of course I would simply go to export, hit on export, and it asks me, do I want to save, or which is to create a copy. I can share this image immediately, so I could actually send it to one of my social media platforms if I wanted to. To export, it says create a copy of the photo and change the sizing, format and quality. Okay, so if I want to change, let's try that, because I think that's an important one to do. Export, preparing the photo. So it's taking a while just to go through and make sure all of those changes that I've added to this particular one are updating correctly. So it's just gone through, there we are, it's finishing, saving the photo, and the photo has been saved. And if I wanted to try one of these other ones, I can create a copy for a selected folder if I use the export as at the bottom. What if I wanted to share this? I'll click on that share option. Whoops. And it comes up with that, and I can then obviously add that to wherever I want to. YouTube, Reddit, wherever I want it to go, Facebook, and so on. I'm not going to add that for the moment. So there we go. That's Snapseed. Excellent for thumbnails. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm Aussie Mark. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, please, on this video, and leave a comment if you like Snapseed, and if you'd like to watch for future videos, of course, whack on down on that subscribe button for me. Have a fantastic day, people. Absolutely love being with you, and I hope you enjoy being with me. Take care. Bye for now.